so much pressure, so much at stake. You want to succeed. No one wants to walk away with very little, if not nothing, at the end of this. Are you willing to try something new at this point? We must get the win.
Hitting the final stretch to get towards champs. Look how close it is! They've got nowhere to run! And that might be the moment that decides this game.
Absolutely perfect.
We got one event next week, and then we got champs coming up.
God, this is insane.
What a round!
We're so close to the end of the season. You know, this is the event. And then boom, playoffs and champs.
Can they clutch up and go big? You gotta go!
Welcome back, Call of Duty fans, to the Toronto Home Series. It is the final regular season event of the year as we've got your home team, the Toronto Ultra, taking on the Chicago Huntsmen. I'm Lando, and joined alongside myself is Study and Nameless, as we'll be kind of maneuvering you guys throughout the series. What we just got to witness, a hot 3-0 from the Atlanta FaZe, and we're just kind of hoping for a series that can possibly go the distance. Those will be kind of getting into a number of different things, but Nameless, let's go and hop right into the game fuel keys to victory. We'll start things off with Chicago. Got to watch them a little bit yesterday, and we'll get to see what they can do today. Again, like we talked about it, versus the home team.
Yeah, you know, the thing for Chicago is it seems when the AR players are struggling, Scump starts to play amazing, right? It's just whether they can all put it together at the same time. Scump was the Huntsman top performer yesterday with a 1.17 overall KD. Look for him to stand out and going forward and stay consistent. You know, he was a player who was an absolute star at one point in his career who can take over games. He said it that performance that he had at the event prior was his worst since World War II, and he stepped up big time yesterday to get them that victory. So I'll be looking at him once again.
Study, what'd you like from Scump yesterday?
Yeah, his just consistency with that submachine gun. He was playing so aggressive, popping two pieces left and right. Hopefully he can keep that up today as well.
Definitely. Well, let's go and hop into the game fuel keys to victory now here for the Toronto Ultra. We've been talking a lot about the Huntsman. Nameless, let's go and give a little bit of love to the Ultra.
Man, the Ultra keep impressing me, right? Like a new thing every event. Like Cammy with that sniper yesterday, and just overall just playing amazing. Like that was a one-on-one duel he had with Draza, and he definitely stepped up to the plate and turned up in that series. So continue the S&D success. They've really been finding a lot of victories in Game 5. They've been playing well in Search and Destroy pretty much all season long with a couple ups and downs. But overall, man, I'll be looking at Cammy to be that standout star for the squad. You know, you saw Classic and Methods as well in that Game 1, turning it up, going big in the respawns. But really in Search and Destroy, they've been finding a ton of success.
They have been, man. I tell you what, Cammy has kind of turned into definitely kind of a diamond in the rough, if you will, for the Toronto Ultra. But let's go ahead and get into our predictions. Of course, these are brought to you by Sony's Xperia smartphone. Study, I'm looking at you first, man. Predictions coming into this series. You giving some love to the home team, or are you going with the Huntsman?
No, I'm definitely going Huntsman in a 3-1. The last time these two faced up against each other, current record is 2-0 for the Huntsman in a 3-1 fashion. And I'm going to say 3-1 because yesterday the Huntsman Search and Destroy didn't really look as strong as previous at the New York home series. So if they're able to pick that up, then possibly a 3-0, but 3-1 for me. Nameless, you agreeing with Study on this one?
No, I'm not. I mean, I'm still going Huntsman, but in a 3-2 fashion. I think Toronto look incredible. I honestly wouldn't be surprised if Toronto were able to come out here and win this 3-2. I think we're going to see one of the closest series we've seen all year, and I'm hoping for it, honestly. I've been loving the games, and I think this will be a banger.
I'll be honest, I'm going to be sticking with Nameless here, actually, Study. I know we're the duo, man, but I'm going to be going with Nameless for this one. I think it's going to be a 3-2. Toronto, at some point, kind of throughout the season, they always kind of cause some problems. I know in that 3-0 versus Chicago previously, a few of the maps were close. The Toronto Ultra, I think, have only been 3-0'd 2 different times throughout this year, and I don't think it's going to be their third, at least for now. But regardless, it should be a fun one, right? I think it's fair to say Toronto definitely put up a solid performance yesterday, and it's going to be fun to see exactly how the home team can perform versus Chicago. But Nameless, thanks so much for talking with us, buddy, and we'll see you soon.
Enjoy.
Appreciate it, man. Absolutely. Well, Study, I don't know about you, man, but I am feeling fantastic coming into today. I had myself a good breakfast. I've been drinking a lot of water. I just feel good. I don't know, yesterday I kind of had a little bit of a headache, but now I'm just excited for this match, man.
Oh, yeah, I'm excited, too. Yesterday, I was a little bit tired. You know, I took a nap before our series, woke up. Wasn't as energetic as I usually am, but today, I'm starting off fresh. Woke up this morning, watched an amazing Netflix series, and then now, we're here, and I'm ready to watch some amazing Call of Duty.
Oh, 100%, man. And we potentially got, like I said, a great series on our hands. I know you think it has the ability to be a 3-0, and that's very much understandable, right? Based on the way the Huntsmen have been playing, really just based off of their prowess throughout the entirety of this season, it is a very fair call to make, but we'll see what the Ultra can possibly do when we especially talk about this first Hardpoint, as they are 3-6 on Ramaza. When we talk about the Huntsmen on this map specifically, they are 6-2. So definitely going to be an uphill battle, but as I talked to Methods yesterday, Study, he said this series will be an uphill battle, as we'll see what the Ultra can do, as we're definitely going to be looking at them, I think it's fair to say, throughout a majority of this Hardpoint.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I'm expecting the Huntsmen to at least step up in the slaying department. We saw the Ultra yesterday versus OpTic. Classic was 0-10 in the respawn, and that's something you cannot have versus the Huntsmen. So hopefully they're able to play a lot more consistent to keep this series close.
Definitely. And there was a few guys. I mean, Nameless obviously talked about it and the kind of the keys to victory a little bit. Cammy was absolutely electric yesterday for the Ultra. What a lot of highlight on that Piccadilly Search and Destroy specifically is what he and Draza traded off like 17-6 performances on either end, which was unbelievable. But Kleenex as well, right? Kind of the new recruit. The Dane himself was putting up some fantastic stats. I think that the Ultra have kind of started to figure things out a little bit. They've been having a lot of slack on their roster and in terms of, you know, making different changes, but I feel like this really could be the one where they can make things competitive.
Nah, yeah, for sure. Since that meta change, you see the dual ARs out of Vance and Methods, just picking them both up. Vance was sitting at a 1.0 yesterday. Played really consistent in all game modes across the board. Now, the only thing is, you weren't playing as a tough opponent as the Huntsmen. The Huntsmen have a couple championships under their belt this year, and they're going for a third to try to make it again. And I just think, like, if the Ultra are able to keep up in that slaying department, it's all going to come down to the search and destroys, because that's where the kink in the armor for the Huntsmen is for me.
Couldn't agree more with you, Stun, as we'll kind of focus the attention now toward the electronic shop. A big 1v1 happened just a few seconds prior to this fight. The Ultra player manages to win it, and now they've got themselves some spawns. That will definitely help out the Ultra early, as this is one of the many money hills on this map, as Ramaza can be punishing. And speaking of punishing, Prestini laying down the fire toward the backside of those construction spawns, as at least for Vance, he'll manage to mask himself through the smoke just to hop in the HP, and it looks as if the Huntsmen, they're going for the retreat.
Yeah, the Ultra, they held that perfectly, able to chain together some kills there to hold this Hardpoint down. Now, the only thing is when you're rotating towards this barbershop, you're going to have to chain a couple more kills together, because the Huntsmen are going to be able to open this up. You see Scump and Arcides picking up kills, holding them in basically back at P2 to make them continue to spawn back construction. Should give enough time for the Huntsmen to at least build this lead back up.
Methods gets cut down. Classic at the door. He gets dropped as well, as the feed filling with Huntsman players. But oh my gosh, the spawns for Ultra, they just get absolutely blessed, as you could talk about. The Huntsman players kind of pressed up through the majority of the map, and now that's going to be Toronto spawning. They get control, and now they are in a wonderful position there, Stud.
That's a major setback for the Huntsmen. They had everything cut off, 5 dead clean, but I just think there were 3 players from the Huntsmen too far pushed up middle and just forced the Toronto Ultra to spawn behind them. That's truly unfortunate for them. This is something that's probably going to be really damaging as the map continues to go on. Ultra's going to be able to open up at least a 70-point lead going into this P4.
Nice shots coming through from Cammy. I'll be honest, I was totally caught off guard by that, Stud. I was like, looking down at the map, I was thinking, like, my mind was on Huntsman. I'm just like, wait, everyone from Toronto is now in the back of the map.
Yeah, it was purple. It was all purple back there.
Definitely a little bit shocking, but we'll see how the Huntsman can start to respond. As, what, you talk about P2 to P3, you can definitely grab a majority of time there, as that's indicated based on the score right now from Toronto. But Chicago now, it's a new life, possibly over at Construction, as we're seeing Prestini Informal pick up a few. That's going to be 5 in a row as the team is considered. Huntsman, at least scump-wise, doing some good damage toward that bottom side, just trying to keep the pressure back. Prestini as well. And pretty much here comes the Congo line of the Ultra. Up close and personal, as Cammy's at least one to falter. The rest of the Ultra players begin to siphon through the bottom of the hill. We'll see if Prestini can continue to be a problem as he gets dropped. Kleenex on the 3 streak, as Toronto, they break in for the last 20.
And that's fine if you're the Huntsman right there. You get at least 35 seconds on that Hardpoint. Now you're going to be able to rotate towards Ruins and eventually pick up the beginning time on this hill as well. You just got to think back at it. That P3, you guys are way too far pushed up. Going into the second rotation, need them to have a tighter setup for sure to not let that happen again.
Definitely not. As we'll see what the engagements look like for the Ultras. You've got a few players. Well, that's player 8, Envoy, and Prestini. They actually are getting those opposite side spawns. They definitely want to be conscious of that. And if you're Toronto, winning these fights is crucial. 40 seconds still left on the hill. Classic pretty much sitting through bottom middle as he gets dropped as well. And again, the smokes masking the fights as Formal with the M4 just hanging out. But the SMGs are the ones that are deserving the spotlight for now. Envoy does get taken down, but in the meantime, the Huntsmen, they're still rallying these seconds together. Continually being shut down as the M4s are hot. 15 seconds left, and if you're the Huntsman, you've done pretty much what you wanted to do. It's just a matter of trying to escape back toward P1. And what, Study? I mean, the Ultra break in, that's fine, but if you notice based off the map, it is still going to be Chicago with those next spawns.
Yeah, Chicago held this hill perfectly, at least gaining 45 to 50 seconds. Scump was on the early rotation toward this top rugs area, basically going to cut off all these players from Toronto. Able to get 2. Is he going to be able to get the 3rd? No, sir. But that's perfect if you're on the side of Huntsman. You got to keep in mind that P3 hill was really damaging, and if that didn't happen, they would be having a lead going into the second half. So as long as they're able to fix that little mistake, then they should be fine and be able to close this out in a dominant fashion.
Oh, and Prestini nearly finding himself in a great position as the SMGs from Chicago have definitely been looking solid so far. Prestini starting off 19 and 11. As he, I think we got to see him for a moment, was on like a 7 or 8 streak. So that's good to see from good old Preston, but nonetheless, looks as if player 4 trying to sneak his way through. That's actually going to be Cammy with the M4. He does get silenced, but that is going to kind of free up a little bit of positioning from Toronto, as we saw them do well at this hill last time around. But Chicago, they fix up a few of their issues last time, and now they're set up for Electronic Shop.
Yeah, they're only down 25 points. Now they just need to get a good amount of hold here and basically do the same thing that they did last time. Try to go for 30, 35 seconds and play that rotation perfect. The only thing is, make sure your setup is a little tight going into P3, and eventually the lead will start growing. You're going to see they're able to hold these back spawns, forcing the players from Toronto to try to make a decision to go through the front, go through the back. But all the kills are going in favor of the Huntsmen. We're about to have a lead switch here pretty soon.
We are indeed. I think it was Prestini who was trying to think ahead for those spawns. Unfortunately, he gets cut down, but it's all right. Arcety's twin brother on the other end, as they are getting headshot after headshot off with their heads. Says the Chicago Huntsmen, as Ultra can't really do much to find an answer, and that is what this hill will provide you with, an instant change in terms of the score, as the Huntsmen will have about a 30-point advantage now coming in toward Barbershop. And it looks as if right now for Toronto, like we said last time around, they get blessed with the fantastic spawn situation. Now they're kind of put in the spot where hopefully the spawns don't flip for them the same way we saw last time. But Classic, we'll see what he can do up close. Like we said, had a few interesting respawns yesterday. Started off the series hot. I think kind of starting into that Game 4 Hardpoint study. Started off 0-10. Currently -6. Not too bad, but nonetheless, Ultra, we'll see if they can start to counteract off of it.
Yeah, one player we were talking about before the series was Cammy. He was that X factor for the Ultra yesterday, sitting at a 1.26 overall in the series. Now he's currently double negative, 11 and 22. And the score is really close. You can't really be mad. Now it's just about if you're going to be able to take that extra step, pick up a couple extra kills to close out this map, because this is going down to the wire.
It is indeed. Huntsmen trying to break on through, and somewhat successful. They're just trying to contest for as long as they can. But the future worry about this study is going to be, can Ultra break out of this setup? Because we've seen teams, you rotate for this hill, that's fine. But if you can't start to make a little bit of a breakout early, it can start to cause problems. What they're just going to send back one player, that being the Chicago Huntsmen, as it's going to be Formal sitting inside the hill. They're just trying to delay as long as they can, and Arcety's punching Classic in the back of the head, as it's going to be now the Ultra on the rotation. You like that from Huntsmen, and we'll see if they can keep up that same pressure.
Yeah, that was a beautiful hold. They're opening up with a free 20 seconds, no contention. Arcety's and Scump are going so huge, just trapping him in back Barbershop. And as I say that, the spawns are going to flip, but they are only 20 points needed for the Huntsmen. And you see number 7, early rotation from Arcety's, realizing they can't win off that hill. As long as we rotate perfectly and play it the same exact way we played on the first time, we should be able to close up this map. Now it's going to be really hard for the Toronto Ultra to try to break in, especially because how dominant the Huntsmen held it from the backside.
It's going to be 225, 226. If the Ultra hold every single remaining second, well, like you talked about it's the rotation that needs to be solid. Chicago there early as they'll start to tick away the time. Both teams can win it here. Just a matter of the break, and Kleenex, he's trying to do some work from that top middle side. Some nice shots coming through from Scott, but he'll take down Cammy. Envoy toward the front side as well, looking to cause some problems.
Number 5.
Chef Tony's trying to make a little bit of some noise. Scump continually taking down player after player. That's 3 in a row for him. RC's on a streak as well. Toronto now with the spawns as they'll come through the back end. Huntsmen, they have to start to fade out, and if you're Ultra, it's just about delaying. You can't win here, and you have to be aware of where the Huntsmen sit in terms of points. 10 more seconds as the smoke starts to roll through. RC's with the pistol, no problem. Silences Kleenex. 8 more seconds now for the Huntsmen as Envoy with the switchblade pulls out the MP5. Take your pick, as he'll be able to do all the work outside the hill, as that will free up the time, and the Huntsmen will walk away with this hardpoint as they lock it up in ruins.
I thought that was going to get scary. You saw Classic. He was able to flank all the way through back barbershop, pick up a 2-piece, and basically make the hill his and force his teammates to spawn behind him. I thought it was going to go down to the wire there, but you saw all the Huntsman players posted up, ready for that engagement. You had RCD sitting in that dark arches area, another player sitting on the front heglets, just picking up all the kills that they needed, and they realized that there was only one player left. The Toronto Ultra needed to rotate, and they weren't going to be able to win it off that hill anymore, so they just stacked it, eventually won all their gunfights. Great first map out of the Huntsmen.
Yeah, great first map out of the Huntsmen, and this gets me excited, man. Gets me excited for the rest of the series as we'll kind of take a look through the stats. 13 and 29 from Cammy. We were given a big highlight to that guy. Definitely not a map that he'd like to replicate, but on the other end, Arcidy's 31 and 16, 26 and 19 from Scump. You can talk about Envoy and Prestini as well doing the damage, but tell you what, man, Arcidy's was a problem throughout a majority of that map. We talked about how the M4s can look great on Ramaza from time to time, and he just showed us exactly why that's the case.
Yeah, yesterday he was sitting at a .96, and that's definitely not what you think of when you think of Arcides. He's one of the best AR players, one of the most dominant players in the game currently. 31 and 16, that's what he's supposed to do, and he's really showed up today for his team.
Definitely. As we'll kind of pull up the U.S. Air Force quick scope for this series, we kind of have to reflect back on, what's about to come next. We talked about it. Chicago, they're preferred, right? Especially when it comes down to the hard point, as they did lose the gun runner yesterday versus the Surge. But nonetheless, I think this is the opportunity that the Ultra have been waiting on. As we talk about their matches, we talk about their games, throughout a majority of the season, Search and Destroy has been a map that has helped them, or a game mode that has helped them, and it's been a mode that has hurt them. And I don't know about you, Study, but I feel like when the Ultra are playing Sound and Search and Destroy, they tend to see better results, as that's kind of what was the key to victory for them yesterday versus OGLA. It was through winning the Game 2 and the Game 5 Search and Destroy.
Yeah, Cammy was unbelievable. He had an unfortunate first map on that Ramaza, but I'm expecting him to step up big in this S&D. With his sniper, he was putting on an absolute clinic. 2-piece, 3-piece, didn't matter. Hitting quick scopes, he was just putting on a show, man. And if he's able to replicate that into today, going against the Huntsmen were able to win that yesterday versus the Surge in a 6-5 fashion, and that's where it's going to be scary for me. If the Huntsmen were able to go back into their VOD, realize and make adjustments into these rounds, then they should be a little better, because 6-5 is not really the equal point to where they want to be, the comfortable point. So if they can close out and fix a couple of those mistakes, and like I said, I just don't think Toronto Ultra are just going to be able to keep up with the gun skill or just like the gunfights, the slaying of the Huntsmen.
Absolutely. And like I said, it's hard, right? Because you're facing off against this Huntsman team, a different number of players to kind of look out for. We've talked about Scampos. We'll go ahead and take a look at a few of his fantastic plays, yesterday versus the Surge. But it's just difficult, right? When you're facing off against the Huntsman, we talked about their record so far throughout the season. 32 and 15 in Hardpoint, 22 and 13 in Search and Destroy, 18 and 10 in Domination. I guess you can kind of give them a one-up now when it comes down to the Hardpoint. But at certain points throughout this season, they have just looked so good in Search and Destroy, and I'll be honest, a lot of that play comes through from a number of different players. One of those guys throughout a majority of the season, though, whenever they have looked great in Search and Destroy, it has been Scump a lot of the time leading the way.
Yeah, Scump is absolutely dominant. He puts himself in positions to where he's either hitting that flank, playing through that mid-map. You saw him yesterday in the big 2v3 clutch with Arcides to spread that map count to go from at least, I think, a difference of 4-3 to 5-3. And that was such a huge round. He just plays so consistent. This has been a game mode that we've been playing for years and years on. So he knows exactly what to do in every situation, and he has to stay consistent with it.
Oh boy, I'm excited because I really think, Study, that this, and I want to hear your opinion on this one as well, kind of knowing the series, I feel like this one kind of starts and ends with Search and Destroy here for the Ultra.
Yeah.
I think if they drop this one, it's just not looking great. I think that they probably either lose this one 3-0 or 3-1. Ultra have been, you know, a lot better in domination than they have in a few other things. But I don't know. I just feel like the Search and Destroy is where it could be done. How about you, though? Is it done here if the Chicago Huntsmen take it?
Yeah, I think it's definitely going to be over if the Chicago Huntsmen win this map, because the last time Toronto Ultra and the Huntsmen played, it went all the way to a Game 5. Fortunately, they lost it, but that Search and Destroy is literally their backbone. If they're able to stay consistent in this Search and Destroy, then pushing it to a 1-1, you'll feel a lot more confident throughout the rest of the series.
Informal, a nice little line sight here, pretty much being given a high majority of the map to look out for, as they've got mid-map control, but that's not where the Ultra players are coming from. The Squirrels themselves are hiding throughout the forest as Classic decides to pretty much come away with it, as Methods sadly takes down Cammy with the team nade, as that's going to even things up at a 4-4. Bomb down for Ultra. The trophy is down as well as they look to set up shop. It's really just about for Chicago, how do they get this retake? Like we discussed, Formal with that sniper has got the vision. He knows they're not going to be in mid-map, at least for now. Envoy being one of those key components early. Formal looking down the scope. He quickly gets caught off guard. In the meantime, it's Envoy with the trade. Can he gun the second one is the question, as Bance making some work on the flank, gets some help from Kleenex, but look at this. Envoy on the defuse. Is he going to get cut down in time? And he does. The Toronto Ultra sniff him out as they'll find the first.
That's a great opening round from the Ultra. They set the pace right off the rip. You know, not playing too aggressive for that bomb plant, but opening it up with a first blood. It's unfortunate that Methods ended up getting a teammate there, but they had it all set up. Trophy on that bomb site. Envoy was trying to go for that two-piece. Unfortunately, he didn't have enough shots to put him down on the turbine. And then you see Bance with the big flank there to open the round up. Beautiful round out of the Toronto Ultra.
And one thing we have to mention too, Study, was that we got to see Chicago play this exact map yesterday versus the Surge.
Yeah.
And I feel like Seattle were doing such a great job. And you kept pointing it out. Their aggression, right? It was their aggression on this map specifically that kept becoming a problem for the Huntsmen. Obviously, Huntsmen get it done in round 11, but it was by no means comfortable. In Ultra, we know that they like to do their homework from time to time. As Classic dropped for the first blood, and Cammy on the other end is looking to put in some solid defensive work. 17 yesterday. It's going to be a difficult task to reach that in this game, but he's off to a phenomenal start. 3-0 to be specific, as the team nade came through last round, but not even teammates can silence him now. The King having to reference back, knowing that the ball is now in his court. The bomb by no means on his back. And it is going to be tough here for young Scump to get this one done here, Study, as he's got a number of different Ultra players surrounding him right now.
Yeah, 1v4, that's pretty impossible to do, especially with only 30 seconds remaining. I just loved how the Ultra were able to push up towards that jungle side and be aggressive on it. They must have watched the Huntsmen play yesterday versus the Surge and how they were playing towards that B bomb. And they saw the way that the Surge were countering that. Just being aggressive towards Turbine. Remember, Slack was laying down at that area. Always picking up a kill. It only went down to that 5-5. But I love the adjustment. You see Cammy there, sitting in that top computer's room. Just pops the door open, able to get 1, get 2, eventually get 3. And that's a great answer back from Cammy.
Cammy starting things off 4-0. 2-0 really for Methods as well. And Scump, again, being a problem. The first Blood Master, it seems. As Kleenex able to respond back, does get tagged up enough from Arcides, so fortunately the communication from Kleenex will have to go dark, as it'll be up to Methods and Cammy. And wave goodbye to Cammy, unfortunately, as now it is all on to the chef. What can he cook up for us here now, Study? A 1 versus 2, that would be a delectable meal. Giving the Toronto Ultra a 3-0 start would be nice, but the first fight's going to come now. Does he have the reaction? He does, but too close for comfort. Huntsman managed to respond back.
Yeah, that would have been nice. If Methods would have got that, would have been the chicken parm with the sauce, but he only got the chicken parm there with that 1 piece. Now, that was a good bounce back round out of the Huntsman. You saw Formal. He was able to hit a pre-nade, open it up with a first blood as well. Just the numbers went in their favor, forced it into a 2v1. Methods almost came back with that round, forced it into a 1v1, but he was just caught with his pants down right there. Good bounce back round out of the Huntsman.
You're talking about chicken parm. You're making me hungry, Study. I've yet to have
So
lunch
good,
myself.
man. So good.
It is, man. It is. I love Methods. I'll tell you what, the food videos that he's done, the content that he's made, future career, to say the least, for Young Methods. But in the meantime, some nice early kills coming through from Ultra. It's Cammy on the flank. He's catching him off guard. And can he escape with his life? We'll have to wait to see another day. It looks as if Cammy is still good for now. At the very least, he's caused all the problems that he wants. And the Ultra come through aggressive. And my goodness, that was some solid work done as the Huntsmen continually. We talked about it yesterday versus the Surge. The same situation here, Study. Flanks galore. We saw FaZe do it as well in the last series versus Empire. Team's just not watching that back door enough.
Yeah, I just literally blinked and the round was over. Cammy ran right up in the map, was able to go through green, get one, stay alive, jump back over the wall, pick up another. He's going all for his team right now, and this is exactly what he needed after such an abysmal first map. 8-1 to start map 2. This is your playground, buddy. You had such a dominant performance with that sniper, and I know he's not rocking it right now, but he's multi-talented in Search and Destroy for sure.
He is indeed. Ultra maybe eyeing up that Piccadilly Search and Destroy for Game 5. Like we said, Cammy versus Draza was an absolute treat, without question one of the best series of the year. And if the Ultra can come away with this Search and Destroy, I mean, this very well could be another fantastic series. A 1-1 scoreline coming into Dom. You never know. The Classic, in the meantime, typing in those digits. The same one every time, so he's got to get muscle memory after a certain point, but take a look at that player toward the top left of the screen, just right inside of the crate. That is going to be Arcides. Not wanting to make too much noise. The first one lines up. The second one not going to come through as Arcides does get some support from his AR duo, that being Formal. Envoy in the midst of this going for the defuse. Can Methods get here in time to go for the challenge? He's going through. Does he find the pick? He does, but there are too many Huntsman players alive. A solid attempt nonetheless, but it will be a defuse for Chicago yet again.
That could have got so scary for the Huntsmen there. They were in a 5v3 situation, but the way that the Ultra was set up in that 5v3, you had both of the players, the one who just planted, pushed up on that crate area. You saw they were able to open it up with that first blood. If they were able to trade effectively there and make it into a 1v3, it's a lot more winnable for Methods there if he was able to get him off bomb and back up. But I thought they played that to the best of their ability right there. It's unfortunate that the kills just didn't go in their favor, and another round goes to the Huntsmen.
Making things interesting. See what the Huntsmen have lined up for us now in the offense. As B has been the primary target, and for good reason. I like that positioning from Classic. The smoke is tossed out. They don't have the vision through Forest, so he feels confident enough to push up just to try to find the pick, but in line of it, it's Formal who's finding headshots early there, Stud.
Yeah, that's great positioning. Way to switch it up, too, because they know how aggressive you're being towards that A-bomb on that first round. Then eventually you're just playing slow, and they just took the map from you completely. Formal was able to switch up that pace there with that sniper. And that's going to catch somebody off guard, especially Methods. Usually the stationary AR. Formal, one of the best snipers to ever play Call of Duty, was able to pick up that first blood.
From one great sniper in yourself to another, Formal doing the work necessary for Chicago. They're trying to even things up, but unfortunately for them, the bomb does get dropped. Formal, at the least, does have the vision. And his T2P teammate is over at the bomb site. Matthew Piper with the sniper is something serious. Bomb is down, but Bance trying to be so clever on the flank. He's so ultra, but can he be so clever? Classic in the meantime, knowing the line side of Formal, the sniper bullet whistles past his ear, and in the meantime, Bance realizes it's time for the challenge. Time is starting to tick away. It's becoming less and less likely as there goes Classic as well.
Yeah, that completely caught the Toronto Ultra off guard. Formal whipping out that sniper, able to get two. And it almost got really scary. The round would have been a lot cleaner for the Huntsmen. There was a player that was hitting that flank, but then when it was a 5v4 situation, or 5v3 situation, two players decided to flank, got perfect timing on that player. Shouldn't have went down that, but good bounce back round out of the Huntsmen to tie it up 3-3. Now this is where the Toronto Ultra need to start cleaning up their mistakes, because like I said, if they lose this map too, this series is basically done for me.
Yeah. It's definitely not looking good if you're Ultra. That's without question. The Huntsmen looked especially great yesterday in the Dom, especially against one of the best Dom teams in the game in Seattle. Obviously, Chicago by no means are bad at it, but still yet, you like their chances if they can walk away with the early 2-0 is in this group. We talked about Chicago has to be the clear favorite, and really for CDL champs, right? They're just trying to win. You can't really rely on what's happening on the other end with groups of like Dallas, FaZe, and the Mutineers, but if you're Chicago, the focus is just win, try to get as many W's as you can. And Classic, speaking of W's, that's a big one. Plants the bomb, instantly challenges. A little bit of vision through the smoke, but take a look at this from Scump. He's being ultra careful. He's called the Jinja Ninja for a reason, but can he find the kill? He does. Takes down Bance. The bomb is down, and Formal is continuing to light it up from sniper to pistol. Not a problem for this man, but 18 seconds left. The time is starting to tick away. He's found out on the crates, and back and forth we go, Study.
Yeah, Toronto Ultra played that perfectly there. They decided to go for that bomb plant, do what they did that worked that first couple of offensive rounds for them. Classic was able to get off that bomb and open up with a big first blood onto Envoy. And that was basically the set tone. I thought it was going to be bad timing for Bance when it came to that connector push from Scump, but eventually Scump was able to get that kill, but another kill went in favor of the Ultra to give them man advantage. Formal had that sniper. It was going to be a really difficult task to do, and the Ultra take the round.
This could be a great situation for the Ultra, especially now on D. Formal, though, with the sniper, the instant counter. As Cammy finds the pick, bomb now in the midst of the rotation. This Kleenex will basically take out the fan to toss the nade through. Is it going to land? No go, but nonetheless, a huge situation for Ultra. If they can walk away with the defense here, it sets them up for an offensive victory to close out the game. Chicago, a lot invested. Got a few players actually toward the back lines. Again, Classic with these smokes has been such a problem. But is he going to look toward the skies? He will not. Envoy for the first, Envoy for the second, and in the meantime, Formal as well with the pick. It's all up to Cammy. The pistol, no worries. He says, you know what, offense is preferred. Dives on in through middle as the Huntsmen level things up at 4.
That was a perfect setup for the Huntsmen after that bomb plant went down. Obviously, the Ultra had the information that Formal had that sniper, and there's basically only one position that you can play, and that's back warehouse and try to get him off that bomb site. But Scump was holding his flank. Envoy put himself in a great position on that top crate, able to open it up with an insane two-piece. And then the round just completely switched right there, and then the Huntsmen were able to tie it up now, 4-4.
It's looking to go the distance. I love myself some round 11s. I don't want to get too ahead of myself, but it's looking good for it. Who knows? Bance doing some great work early. 3 and 5, not the greatest scoreline. Well, you can start to turn things around now. Prestini, position is known at the least for Bance. You were able to get some work done, as that's going to be some nice picks early for Chicago. They've got the advantage in terms of man count, but hold on. Arcitys, he's hanging out toward this turbine. Could this start to be a new sequence, as it looks as if Alec does manage to drop. Formal does as well, as the Toronto Ultra now finding themselves up 5 rounds to 4.
Yeah, Bance opening up with a big first blood. He knows that Scump loves to play that middle computer area and just playing that pipes area every round, basically. He decides to pop his dead silence, slide immediately through that pipe, and catch Scump as he was trying to jump through that window. Able to come back as well, bust that door down, and Prestini was there with his pants down. Was able to get some team shots into him to open up that round. That was a beautiful play out of Bance. Good routing with that submachine gun.
Well, we saw Chicago make an offensive hit toward A last time. They quickly referenced the bomb back to B, saw some success. Middle map was open, and Prestini takes advantage. These engagements have been quick from either side, as they'll only continue. Scump goes down as well. The final 3 possibly of the game for Chicago left up. Arcitys doing everything he can to prevent that. Being such a nuisance over here toward this turbine side. But if your methods, you've got the line sign, you're thinking, surely we walk away with this, but no, not going to happen. The 2v1 conversion comes through from Chicago, and now it is all on to Bance. 1 versus 3, can he catch the timing? Envoy sees him. It's about just trying to stay alive for Bance, trying to make as much of an impact as you can, as the bomb now rotated back toward A. Formal spots him, Arcitys cleans him up, and we have got ourselves a lovely round 11 teed up here, Study.
Another one, another round 11 for the Huntsmen on Gunrunner S&D once again, and that was just an unbelievable round right there. They were able to just put themselves in the proper positions. I thought Methods put himself in a great position behind that rock. If he didn't pre-shoot there, possibly getting a 2-piece, he just gave up all that information to RCDs, immediately went for that challenge, and then it was a 3v1 situation from there. But overall, if Methods would have just been a little easier on that trigger finger there, it probably would have turned out different for the Ultra, but now we're down to another 5-5.
We are indeed 1-5 record for the Ultra. 6-1 record in round 11 for Chicago. You like their chances, and especially because they're on offense. But look at this hit. Look at this hit from the flank as the Ultra send 3 through the Cole side. We see teams do this from time to time, but in round 11, it's a ballsy play, but it works out for now. The bomb gets planted because of the presence that was felt over toward the opposite side, and Scump, he gets the nade onto Kleenex. Scump continuing. That's going to be his second. He quickly wraps around for what could be the third. Has to wrap around. He loses all of the ammo. As now it's going to be up to Cammy. Can Cammy walk away with it? Just a few seconds left. Scump and Envoy staying alive, not trying to give him any information to feed off of. He instantly hops on the defuse, and it should be a quick ending to this round. Can Scump get in here in time? And he does! A big win for Chicago here on the offense as we talk about their round 11 records, and they managed to win another one.
Oh my god, and that's why he is the king. Getting 3 in that 5-5, usually people are shaking in their chair. He's been in this moment so many times, and Scump once again coming up big for the roster. I know he's sitting at 8-8, but he had so many tremendous plays, fighting for that mid-map control the entire time. You see Cammy on the other side proving his S&D worth. 15-6, man, and that's truly unfortunate to go down 0-2 after such a nail-biter of that search and destroy. And like I said, if the Huntsmen were able to close out that search and destroy, it'd be really hard for the Toronto Ultra to come back.
Oh man, that's definitely gonna really kind of dampen the spirits if you're the Ultra right now. We talked about how important the search and destroy was. As Chicago, they win the game 2 search and destroy versus Seattle on this map specifically yesterday. They do it again here as we'll go and take a look at our U.S. Army tactical play, and it has to be this round 11 study, right? It has to be the clutch up coming in from Chicago, and you referenced it perfectly. Scump's performance, he walks away with the hat trick. He finds a few, and it got a little bit scary there, but again, the King, as you mentioned, clutches up along with the Huntsman crew.
Yeah, the Ultra played that tremendously, I thought, in that 5-5. Instead of pushing through B, they all decided to go through that flank side. He was unbelievable. Caught Pristini by himself. They just triple pushed him out, was able to open up with that first blood. The only thing is, when they got that first blood, the Huntsmen were able to immediately plant that bomb. Now the time is ticking. They all decided to go through connector. Scump with a huge opening nade, getting 1. Then catching the guy come up River Street, getting 2. Just playing his life, finessing inside of green, not acknowledging the flank. That guy on the flank, if he would have played that a lot faster for the Ultra, it probably would have been a different round. But Scump played that beautifully with the hat trick, like you said, to go up 2-0 in this series.
Yeah, and that's a massive situation for this team. And, you know, I'll be honest, I think there was a lot of emphasis on Chicago coming into this event in terms of how their search and destroy would look. I mean, kind of knowing what we know in terms of what they saw, or rather kind of what they presented versus Surge, and now here versus Ultra. Are you happy with what you've seen from Chicago in search and destroy, considering it's been back-to-back round 11 victories?
Yeah, I think I'm happy with them because they're able to clutch up in these round 11s. And it's both been the same map, which is Gunrunner. So obviously this is where they are feeling really confident, even though it's going down to the wire. Now, if we see them on different S&D maps and it's a different story, totally different thing. But so far, I'm definitely still confident in their search and destroy.
Study's confident, and it looks as if, in terms of the scoreline, you should be too, especially if you were a Huntsman fan, finding themselves up 2-0 versus the home team in Toronto. Can the Ultra manage to respond back in domination? We're about to find out right after this.
He's going to get caught, but they line up for Scump, and Scump, the king! Envoy is going off. Pristini gets the kill. They're going to keep on charging straight into Osities. Formal hits the shot. Chicago can't dominate.
Call of Duty League is brought to you by Metro by T-Mobile. Stay connected to what matters most with the best value in wireless.
I had told my parents that I'm gonna quit. There's no possible way. 18 months ago, my life was all different. I'm Dylan Hannon, also known as Envoy, and I play for the Chicago Huntsmen. Throughout Black Ops 4, people grew a lot of respect for me. In the past, I hadn't been a good person, and I was, an average player.
But it's just Envoy doing it himself, able to pick up too. Envoy still picking up kills.
Once they started seeing the stats, then they looked to see, is this guy a good person, or is he still the scumbag that he used to be? That's just the biggest obstacle, was just earning people's trust back and showing them that I'm a new person. I'm a much more mature person now. The process that I took to finally land here on the Huntsmen was kind of a very odd process, a very complicated one. With the CDL just happening this year, everyone being a free agent, it was everyone up for grabs, So I was kind of nervous. I was like, oh man, these organizations are looking for a core group of players. The vibes were high, and we announced the team right here, literally right here, about 6 months ago, which is nuts. Ultimately, I'm happy where I ended up, and I think this team is a great one. I think we have all the pieces to be a great team for a while. Teaming with Seth, it's honestly a great time. I think Seth and Matt combined, T2P, they gotta be the funniest teammates I've ever had. They're the biggest trolls in the community. They know how to have a good time. When everything outside the game is all fun and stuff, then it's fun to play.
Envoy, man, he's a monster. He is absolutely one of the best players in the world.
He is absolutely hungry for these kills.
I cannot believe how easy he has made this look.
I'm so glad we get to see this. Look at the Kobe onto the site. Bang!
18 months ago, my life was all different. I was working a part-time job. I had told my parents that I'm gonna quit and, give me a couple months to see if I can make this dream into a reality.
Envoy's flanking left and right and just wreaking havoc on the map.
Now I'm representing the biggest brand in the COD League and the best fans in the world. I'm just looking to do the most out of it. I'm working on myself as a player, working on myself as a teammate. I'm trying to do all the right things. I want to be here to stay.
That was our scuff behind the controller featuring Envoy. You can feel free to check out more episodes on the CDL YouTube channel. I'll tell you what, Study, that is one of my favorite pieces of content that we do here at the CDL, and I just love the quotes that kind of are generated from, different situations like that. It's kind of great to hear the, I guess you could say kind of the behind the scenes, if you will, for young guys like Envoy. He talked about how he was trying to earn people's trust back, how different it was, just kind of a few months ago, kind of a year ago from where we are now, and it's pretty crazy, man, knowing what we know about Envoy, his kind of history, and then obviously now being on what is arguably the most popular team in the CDL and the Huntsmen. It's one heck of a story, and boy, has he had a crazy, crazy debut for this Chicago team.
Yeah, man, if you're Envoy, you want to get the respect from your peers, from your fellow competitors and stuff like that. But when he talks about, giving his parents, a time frame where he was on that verge of quitting, I was on the same thing back in the day. And then I told my parents that I needed a couple months as well to make my dream into a reality, and that's exactly what he did. And then you see him now just shining on through with the Huntsmen, teammate looking flawless, and they're going to try to win another championship this year. They're going to stay consistent with it, and Envoy's definitely a huge piece.
100%, man. Has been one of the biggest pieces for Chicago throughout the season, and he's played a majority of different roles kind of throughout his career, but none more important and influential than this one here for Chicago as we now enter in towards some domination on Hackney, what could be the final resting place for the home team in the Ultras. We'll see how Ultra they can be, as they will have the preferred side now for Tire Shop. But Envoy, the player, as we discussed it,
behind the controller and behind the Ultra, it seems, as he finally does get taken down, but nonetheless, it clears out Warehouse for guys like Prestini to try and neutral out B.
Yeah, yesterday watching the Huntsmen on this map versus the Surge, they did such a good job on their first side, which was good side, holding their spawns for 4 minutes straight. And then when they went into the second side on their bad side, they flipped it with 45 seconds. So that's what's going to be it for me on this map. Are the Ultra going to be able to hold their spawns and keep up with the slaying department for the Chicago Huntsmen, because they looked flawless yesterday on the map with their breaks and their holds.
See what Chicago can do. Obviously not in the preferred side. The Toronto Ultra trying to do some solid work early. And in fact, let's go actually to an Astro Gaming listen-in with the Huntsmen.
Didn't hit right. I heard that.
Yeah, I'm need help then.
No.
Get top L, get top L.
Yeah, I got top L.
I'm still holding right. Look at mid right now.
I don't have top L. I need help. Mid stairs on me. Low dead.
I have
top L, scump.
You have right still? In middle half, mid crate, one shot.
Playing green. Could be.
He's still on my...
I spawn green, yeah.
Top L.
I'm dead.
Flank out door. In our side A. Top car. Only one.
Okay,
flank. They're gonna hit you.
I was gonna finish.
Oh, spawn for
Wait, what? They spawn mid. Might be able to kill them. Hit a cop car.
Go top B. These guys on B.
Stun myself.
On B.
MP, one dead, one more.
Spawn forward.
One more. Top L and bottom. The spawn green crate. There's 2 MP, and 1 A. Backside. Only one. Last
good shit.
One shot here. I got naded.
Weak.
I'll go
What winch cap for sure.
MP1.
We could go for C. Oh, they're
We can go for the cut if you want.
now.
I'm going top scout.
Don't see him top L.
You have a struggling.
Stun
Top
dead.
AC,
Could be
scump
top
dead.
dead. I have a
Be close
trophy.
right, Envoy.
P1.
Yeah, he's top L, Alec.
I think
Top L
it's
still. Top I have L. top L.
Might be close
I have
right.
top L window.
Pick up right.
Top L window.
Yeah, I spawned back left, he might be
Top
dead.
AC.
Top AC.
Top AC again.
White barrel.
Top AC.
I want P1 now.
Nice.
Keep it living.
Maybe our mid stacks or something.
Nice. Not weak. There's 2 in flag. Top scan.
I'm going C. Everyone hold. Trust me, hold.
Top scan.
Yeah, it wasn't the Huntsman. It was actually the Ultra. Did you notice? Hopefully not. Well, regardless, Toronto study doing a great job here holding down Tire Shop. And in the midst of those communications, in the midst of those comms, it looks as if in the meantime, it's actually Bance causing some chaos over at C. You like what we're seeing early here from Ultra?
Yeah, I like it, but for the side of the Huntsmen, you're only down 9 points on your bad side. There could have been an opening in the game where Formal was able to push through green. He was able to get 1, but he decided to just play it slow, thinking players are going to spawn behind him. He didn't want to go for that neutrality and just leave his teammates out to dry. But they're doing perfect right now with this CB setup, only being down 8 points on bad side. If you're the Huntsmen, you're completely holding down B, picking up all the kills that you need, and going into the second side, you're going to be looking a lot better than a lot of people expected, for sure.
Absolutely, and they're winning some big 1v1s over at C, kind of getting some good communication in from the entire roster as they're putting everything set in stone over at Warehouse, causing chaos as guys like Envoy, that's going to be a few in a row, lighting it up in Warehouse as that's Envoy on 3 kills in a row. Unfortunately does get dropped, and take a look at what that does. Ultra, they actually spawned toward that backside of C, and Envoy just made the play. He clears out this flag, and we'll see if the Huntsmen can start to rally with just 45 seconds left.
And this is scary for the Ultra. The game is basically going to be tied. Looking for a triple cap coming from Chicago. It's going to get out of hand here. Keep in mind, Chicago were on the bad side this entire time. They did not flip the spawns to the very end of the game right there. And they're opening the lead, going to their better side. This is getting really out of hand for the Ultra. They need to stop this bleeding, and they need to stop it now before it gets too out of hand.
They definitely do. Just try to grab a flag and just sit on it, Kleenex. Just try to cap this one, buddy. You got only a few seconds left, and talk about a difference maker. Chicago, they managed to flip the spawns, and now they hold an advantage coming into the preferred side, which, if you're Huntsman, as you called it, Study, they were playing great despite not having the preferred setup. B was theirs. I don't want to give a percentage, but we'll say like, what, 85% of the time?
Yeah.
For being specific, but nonetheless, a great beginning for Chicago, and it's just a matter of holding on to Tire Shop and kind of playing things solid here to make sure you get the victory.
And this is why it's going to be so scary, because we saw the Huntsmen yesterday hold it down for 4 straight minutes. They were players, Arcides, Formal, Scump. Everyone who needed to fill in that gap, they were there picking up the kills when they needed to. On the side of Ultra, that's very devastating if you're going into this side, because you obviously had the better side, but you didn't have the numbers advantage to go into that B site and pick up that flag. They kept losing all their gunfights, going one by one. giving the Huntsmen exactly what they wanted. Now they have an 18-point lead with the favorite side on this side, and it's going to be so hard for the Ultra to try to bounce back.
Yeah, it's definitely not going to be easy for Toronto. Chicago making some plays, and I promise it'll be Chicago this time. Let's go to an Astro Gaming listening now with the Huntsmen.
Big win, big win.
I'm behind.
It's on, stay alive, stay alive, stay alive.
You're behind you. Another one shot under you.
Yeah, he's like,
One shot.
Yo, blue van spawn.
I'm gonna get him.
In shack, one shot.
There's top 3.
Lane B.
Yeah, top green, candy.
I don't see top green.
I'm holding top green.
He
got me green. I died. Yo, Zen is P3. There's 2 and B.
I have one.
Our stacks.
Barrels. I got stunned. Barrels.
Top Darrell dead.
Nixon garage.
Yeah, wait, I hit him with an 8 on B. Yeah, one shot.
I stunned.
Yo, can I OE?
Yeah, you can.
Back up.
No, he hit me with the car. He hit me with the fucking.
He's going graffiti. He's dead.
Yo, green spawn. Yo, bottom L and top L. Bottom L and top L. Yeah, bottom L. Alright, we're make it OE play.
I'm waiting for you guys.
He's pushing out.
Push out.
Coming out.
I'm owing. Hold
Yo, he's top AC. There's 2 top AC, 1 bottom AC. Bottom AC right now.
Top AC dead. One top AC, one shot, one top down.
I'm neutral and getting off it.
Okay, you
Okay.
Top P2, there's 2 a day right now.
I'm green again. I'm doing this shit again.
He's backing up pit.
Get to hear the communication coming through from the Chicago Huntsmen. Things looking good off the start, but Study, just as quickly as we kind of hopped in the comms, just as quickly as the Toronto Ultra managed to get the flip. They've got 3 minutes left in this game. It's doable for them, buddy.
Yeah, this is beautiful on the side of Ultra. They were able to flip those spawns, chaining a couple kills together, leaving Formal by himself at that A flag. We're able to spot him out, take him down, and flip the spawns, and that's beautiful on the side of Ultra. Now they have 2 minutes and 40 seconds left, only down 11 points. They just need to get a proper hold into this B flag. Now, with only 10 seconds down, if they hold it for at least another 40-45 seconds, it'll basically be a tie game.
It's a huge 1v1 for Cammy. He drops it. That's going to be Scump. That's also going to be Prestini, who is hanging out toward this barrier, as that's going to be a few in a row for him. Chicago, they storm over toward the A site. C is currently vacant, and look at that. The Ultra, unfortunately, are on the backhand of getting the non-preferred spawns. Keep in mind how close this game is. The Huntsmen, they lose it. They instantly grab it right back. Excellent communication and great teamwork coming through from Chicago in those moments as they do what is necessary, as we've got ourselves a tie game. The 2-minute warning inbound. Can the Ultra start to rally? Can they start to make something happen? As Envoy continuing to be a problem. Keep in mind, player 9, Scump does spawn with him. This could be a flanking opportunity, but just as we start to talk about it, Toronto now spawns over toward Fire. They have preferred spawns, and everything is just flipped on its head, Study.
Oh my God, there's only a 1-point game. Flags going left and right. It's looking like the Huntsmen are going to be able to secure C. Now they're going to try to hold B from the same exact setup they did on last time, but all the kills going in favor of Ultra, and this is where it can get out of hand. A minute 20 remaining on the clock. The lead is starting to grow for the Ultra. Huntsmen need to be able to answer back here quick, especially if they're going to try to break into this B flag, which you have a Classic sitting at top L, which is going to have a huge gunfight versus Scump here if he's able to take him down.
Doesn't need a big situation for Classic, a big situation for Toronto as they're looking to hold. Keep in mind the pushes over toward Warehouse. Keep in mind the players that are trying to push to the top side of the map as it's Prestini who falls. Chicago still looking to try and break on in, but shout out to our observers. Bant's currently on the flank. Can he make some impact? And no, Arsenes cuts him down. A few in a row for him as Chicago, they do manage to lock back control over B, but in the meantime, as they'll rally back toward Tire Shop, it's actually going to be Toronto on the back end as they cap over towards C. It's looking scary for Chicago right now, Study.
Yeah, Toronto just made a beautiful play there. They understood that they had to push for that 3 cap or at least get a neutralization on that A flag because they were up by 10 points with only 45 seconds remaining, so they'd only get 9. They would have won by 1, but to secure the game, one player sneaks through to that C flag, able to get the neutral, able to get the cap, and now they're going to be able to walk away with this map win and force it to a game 4.
Oh boy, I tell you what, man, that was fun. That was crazy. That is absolutely crazy. The Toronto Ultra, despite the number of different interesting circumstances toward the ending stages. They managed to walk away with the Dom, and the home team, they stay alive as it got scary toward the stretch. And I feel like in that moment, Study, it's kind of like the gif of Michael Scott saying, I understand nothing, because I was very, very confused toward the end there, but nonetheless, the Ultra can hold their head high as they get a chance at another hard point, but we can't stray away too much. I want to take a look at the stats here for this particular hard point, see exactly who kind of was the main difference maker. What we see, 13 and 21 from Kleenex. Not the greatest performance coming in from him, but Methods 24 and 17, 22 and 18 from Classic. On the other end, Prestini continuing to put in some work as he finishes +5 overall. Without question, a close game, and that's directly indicated there by the score.
Yeah, the Huntsmen went into their bad side, and I thought they played that beautifully. They took a 19-point lead, were able to chain at least a 3-cap at the very end. But the way that Toronto Ultra was playing that, their kills were a lot more valuable. They ended up getting outslayed on that map, but they were picking up the kills in the right spots. They were able to flip those spawns at least 2 or 3 times on that second side, giving them that A-B setup, and they were able to hold it a lot better on this second side to give them such a lead. Now, they had playmakers like Bance pushing through to that C flag, getting for the neutral, staying alive, winning those one-on-one gunfights, and eventually just being that annoying player that he was, gave them enough time to be able to capitalize onto that B flag, or just mainly just keep in mind that they had that lead. They didn't really need to do anything else. They made the Huntsmen have to make that play, and it was a beautiful bounce back map for the Ultra.
It was indeed, man. Right? Like I said, we kind of saw them kind of given a great situation. They managed to make it work. And like we said, now we visit ourselves another hard point as we'll go and take a look at our PlayStation damage dealt leaderboard. Actually, going back to the Game 1 hard point, which will kind of set us up nicely for the St. Petro next. But it is the twin brother duo, Prestini and Arcides, doing it big there in that first HP. I tell you what, man, Study, like I said, when it comes down to the Huntsmen, it is just a number of different players that you have to worry about. We talk about T2P, we talk about Envoy, but you also have to talk about the twins, Prestini and Arcides together. Give them the right situation, give them the right circumstance, and they can put up some insane numbers.
Yeah, they're an insane duo. They know how to play the game down to the T. Arcides is going to be playing mainly for those spawns. And, you know, Prestini is following up with the kills and the spawns play. They're playing it perfect. Just a couple mistakes here and there. But you see Bance on the top for the Toronto Ultra in that hard point time. 1:44. That's insane, man. He's basically sitting there with his feet kicked up, collecting all the time for the Ultra. But that's what's going to be so scary going into this Petro hard point. The last 4 times that the Huntsmen have played this, they're currently on a 4-win spree. Watching them yesterday versus the Surge, they had flawless rotations, especially on that second side of the hard points, the second rotations. Arcides was playing that water streak perfectly, and I'm expecting him to do the same exact thing on this map again.
Yeah, I was looking to see here, kind of through my notes a little bit. I don't believe that Toronto and Chicago have actually played on this map, so it'll be kind of a new look. But as you discussed it, I mean, yesterday Chicago, really just in general, kind of throughout this year, they've loved themselves some St. Petro. They've got a 5-1 record on it, kind of throughout the regular season. So definitely a map they feel good on. And even when we kind of talk about it, if Toronto were to force the Game 5 onto Piccadilly, I really don't know where to go at that moment, because Chicago, they're 3-2. We talked about Cammy's performance yesterday. I may be getting too ahead of myself, but Study, I'm going to ask you again. I know you gave me the 3-0 prediction to Chicago. It looked very, very good coming into that domination, but is there some hope for Toronto? I won't say is there a chance, because of course there's a chance for Toronto to take this, but how likely do you think that it could be the Ultra Force in the Game 5?
Well, with the Huntsmen currently on a 4-win spree on this map, it's going to be a really hard task to climb. And it all comes down to that first hard point. Cammy went 13 and 29. If he's able to step up here for his roster on this hard point, it'll be a lot closer. And we just need to expect more rotations from the Toronto Ultra. A lot more flawless kills to come down in the right positions. Once again, just like that domination, if they're going to have a chance here.
Yeah, St. Petro, it can be a balancing act from time to time, just considering the way that the hills can roam. As Cammy, a nice little drop shot there through the smoke. They'll be grabbing the early time. But yeah, like I said, when you talk about St. Petro, it can be a balancing act from time to time. It can be punishing. When you talk about, you know, hill rotations, we're talking like, you know, hazmat to pool hall in specific, cafe to hazmat just in general. I mean, there's a lot of different rotations you have to be conscious of, and you can definitely start to pay if you're not aware of it, as the Ultra grabbing the time. The Huntsmen on the back end, as it looks as if they're set up for P2. The Ultra, though, they can at least be happy that they're locking a majority of the time down here in shipping.
Yeah, the Ultra were way too focused on his first P1 hill to have anyone sitting in the back, and that gives the Huntsmen the spawn. All 5 players spawning behind Pool Hall, and this is going to be a really hard task to break because you saw the way the Huntsmen held it yesterday. Envoy popping 3 pieces left and right. RCD's picking up big 2s with that AR on that water street or sitting top pool area, and we're just going to need a quick break from the Ultra if they're going to stand a chance here because they're able to chain from P2 to P3. The Huntsmen were able to do it yesterday versus Seattle Surge, so hopefully the Ultra have an answer for it.
That's a great call, Stud. Yeah, Chicago did a great job at doing this yesterday, as we obviously had the cast on them, but we'll see if the Huntsmen can continue to ignite, as it looks as if they do have those spawns. The squad spawns are there, and they'll retake control. 30 seconds left. Advance. Maybe some late hill heroics. We'll see what he can do, but take a look at Scott. Player 9 realizes, I think Water Street's pretty clear, and due to the squad spawns, he and Envoy are happy to make a quick little jaunt over toward Hazmat. Granted, Toronto, they get the time, but if you're Chicago, I think it's fair to say, Study, at least you get somewhat of a positive out of it.
Yeah, you definitely get a positive out of it. You get at least 20 seconds there, but it was contested back and forth. The good thing is Scump was able to push up through that water side, and we saw them yesterday versus the Surge. They were playing back on that hazard building and not being really aggressive towards that mid-map. You see a completely different pace right here. You're going to have that number 7, which is RCD's, playing through the middle of the map. He's able to try to stay alive and play his life perfectly. Now it's all about just keeping that line in front of him. But as I say that, Vance is able to take down Formal. Now Water Street is wide open.
It is indeed. CleanX trying to do some work toward the back end, as I believe we have lost a player from the Huntsmen. Didn't see that in my feed, but nonetheless, we'll be kind of seeing what exactly does occur for Chicago now. It looks as if Classic up close does get dropped. CleanX as well, trying to do some work toward the back end. As Formal trying to eye him out, but Toronto, they're just overwhelming Hazmat building right now. The trophies are out, and this could start to become a little bit problematic here, Study. They continue to kind of push them out. Envoy's trying to sneak his way through. He's kind of the linchpin right now for Chicago. He stays alive, a great situation. He drops, things aren't looking great. Wins the 1 versus 1, and Methods takes him down through the door.
Yeah, Ultra just did what they could right there. They held from the front side, just trapping the 4 players in that backside of P3. They're able to win that rotation gunfight onto Envoy, and now the lead is just growing. They're up 60 points, getting every single kill in the kill feed. The Chicago Huntsmen are currently man down, so this is going to be a difficult task regardless, but the Ultra just building the lead here.
Like we talked about, Chicago currently Prestige-less, so a 4 versus 5. Nonetheless, Toronto going to try to utilize this situation to their advantage. Up close to the smoke, Methods locking them out through that track side, as it looks as if we were given where Prestige did have the disconnect, so we'll go on and continue. But Toronto, a great rotation and a great lockdown, as they're pretty much going to take the century advantage here, Study.
Yeah, they're just getting every single kill. Playing man down is a difficult task, especially on such a big map like St. Petrograd. But the hill for the Toronto Ultra are currently up 100 points. They're winning every rotation, starting off with the beginning time. Like I said, difficult task for the Huntsmen if they're gonna try to bring this back.
See what Chicago can do. Formal trying to open up the door, which is going to clear open the line sight from Scump, but Toronto, they're just too thick, and they pretty much have set up such a nice situation for them that it's going to be hard for Chicago to break on through regardless. RCD's trying to do everything he can to break inside the kitchen, but he gets foiled. Ultra doing some nice work, obviously utilizing the numbers to their advantage, which is what you'd expect them to do as they're filling up the feed.
Yeah, 170 to 45. The score is just growing for the Ultra. All the kills going in favor of the Ultra. It's basically 2v1 versus every player on the map. Huntsmen are trying to stay alive here, trying to get that early rotation toward this P1 now, to try to bring some time back in and not make it look as bad, I guess you could say. Especially with it being man down, there's nothing really they can do.
Yeah.
But the Ultra just playing this beautifully, man. They only need a couple more points to be able to close out this map.
Do indeed, not a whole lot left to do, as Cammy's going on a 5-kill spree, 21 and 10, and again, it's hard to kind of reflect on the stats, but nonetheless, doing what he needs to, as the Ultra looking primed right now over at Shipping. They can't win it here, but they can definitely get themselves in a great position to do so, as Chicago toward the back. They have spawn set up for P2, but it's going to be CleanX who's looking to cause some chaos in the midst of the Chicago scuffle. toward that top side of Pool Hall. Kleenex finds himself. The route shuts down Envoy. Can he take down Arcides? That's going to be a no-go, but Ultra, the presence, it's overwhelming.
Yeah, man, only needed another 25 points to close up this map. Like I said, man, it's just a really difficult task for the Huntsmen. It's truly unfortunate that Pristini ended up disconnecting from the game. But, you know, the Ultra, they're playing this well. You see Cammy 23 and 13, stepping up when he really needed to. After that first map, he was 13 and 29. So it's a total switch around for him. And hopefully, if they do end up going to a game 5, it'll be a momentum boost for him.
Will be indeed Kleenex. A nice double. Let's go ahead and close out this map as the smokes are there, the nades, the utility, everything from Chicago trying to be thrown on in, but it's not going to be enough. As Toronto are going to walk away with this hardpoint here on St. Petro, 250 to 58. As we've got ourselves study a game 5. Not expecting to get it this way, but we've got ourselves a game 5, buddy.
Yeah, game 5 is going to be S&D on Piccadilly, and that's what I'm expecting Cammy to come out with the sniper. You saw him in that first search and destroy with 15 kills, and he wasn't even using his best weapon. Yesterday, watching him versus OGLA was putting on an absolute clinic left and right. I'm excited to see this game 5.
I am too, man. It's going to be fun, right? It's going to be fun to kind of see both these teams play it out on Piccadilly. We talked about records, and obviously most recently for the Ultra, we saw Cammy's performance, kind of like that 1v1 versus Draza. I actually had the chance to do the PlayStation instant reaction with methods, and I was like, in that moment when you got a player kind of going off like that, what do you do? And he was like, you just get out of the way. You either get out of the way or you get in the way to try and bait for him. Methods was obviously aware of it, and we'll see if he can maybe do much more of the same. Cammy putting up some great search and destroy performances in the game 2. We'll see if the Ultra can fire back in game 5, as that is what's going to be around the corner right after this break.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's the moment we've all been waiting for.
Toronto Ultra destroyed them.
Kleenex right through the wall.
As Methods was a monster for Ultra.
4 go down medals. Lucky 3 in a row. Oh boy.
Liquor in my slurpee and I slurp. Wet, it's cold, she ice.
Hey Scump, welcome to Kensington Market. Let me show you the cats. Hey Scump, thanks for coming to Kensington Market, one of Toronto's most diverse neighborhoods.
Want to play Search and Destroy like a pro? Here's some S&D recon from the U.S. Air Force. Piccadilly's a unique map. There's a lot of building cover around the perimeter, but most of the action happens in the wide open streets. There are a bunch of scattered vehicles you can use as cover, but be careful. Some might just explode. This map's long sightlines and environmental hazards make long-range weapons and explosives especially deadly. So, grab a sniper rifle and a grenade, because we're going for first blood. If you're on offense, pull out a sniper rifle and run straight for the scaffolding. This is a great vantage point to catch any members of the defense crossing the bomb site A or B. Let's see how a pro, like Simp, does it. If you're not quite savvy with the scope, run straight out of spawn towards this street light with the frag grenade. Line up these two posts, run, jump, and throw. If you manage to land your grenade near this G, you'll be able to catch anyone on the defense hanging back with snipers of their own. If you're on defense, check out how GodRx works the sniper on B. As soon as he spawns, he runs straight into the bookstore to catch any players making a quick break for bomb site B. From here, he can even catch any enemy sniper's position on the scaffolding. If any players make it all the way to the ambulance, you can toss a frag grenade right at it and blow up anyone lurking behind cover. If you want to catch him crossing to A, give this a shot. Run out of spawn, look to the right, and aim towards this building. This is a common path to get to A, so the enemy might drop a smoke grenade for cover. But if you can predict the enemy's timing like Wuskin can, you might just get lucky and find a pick anyway. There's your S&D recon for Piccadilly. Good luck out there.
Love me some good old S&D recon by the U.S. Air Force. Of course, we showed you that. Why? Because it's our next map here study for game number 5. It is some good old Piccadilly. And, you know, I'll be honest with you, man. This was a map that I'll be honest, it's kind of grown on me a little bit. It was a map in the beginning that a lot of teams were kind of, I guess you could say, confused to play. There was a lot of rosters that talked about how it was kind of an odd map to scrimmage on. But I think it's kind of started to turn, not just for me, but I think a lot of the community into one of the favorite search and destroy maps, especially for Game 5. It only makes things more intense.
Yeah, man, this map is literally Sniper City. All the snipers on this map put on an absolute show. We saw Cammy yesterday. Pretty sure he had 15, 16 kills. And there needs to be an answer on the side of Huntsmen. And I'm looking directly at Formal, one of the best snipers in the game. He needs to be the equalizer to try to ease him down, because the show that Cammy was put on, it's going to be really hard to stop him. Now, we're going into this map number 5. First off, I want to give a shout out to Nameless for that S&D recon. You know, that is my duo. He knows the info. And hearing his voice in those things just brings back so much memories, like when it comes to like strategy calling and stuff like that, because he was basically one of those S&D players that I love to play with, that just knew exactly what he needed to do on the map. So going into this map, I'm expecting a nice battle between Cammy and Formal for sure.
It's gonna be exciting to see. Obviously, Prestini back. Glad to see him here for Chicago, hoping for no more issues, but nonetheless, early damage done if you are the side of Chicago, as Scott manages to clean up Kleenex. Funny enough, Bance also shuts down Prestini as the M4s are flying early. And Cammy with that sniper rifle is primed and ready to go, hoping to help babysit the bomb carrier. Looks to be over toward the B site, but they do have some good control over at A. The one person who could start to cause some problems, though, is Envoy. Here comes the nade, and that is going to stop Toronto in their tracks for now. We're going to need to see a challenge soon. The smart smoke coming through from Envoy as well, as Classic in the meantime goes on the flank, and due to Arcity's dropping, that is going to be the one piece that is going to allow for Toronto to get this bomb down. Classic will just get this down in the perfect amount of time, but he gets cleared off the site. 3 players still up for Toronto, and Cammy, there's the pick we've all been waiting for. shuts down Envoy, and in the meantime, Formal as well. But that sniper is primed and ready to go. As we'll see how Chicago vend to make this retake. T2P, it is up to them. And it's not going to be easy. They've got a street to walk through, but Formal, he finds the first. Toronto, though, just too strong as they've got the spread and they've got the round.
Yeah, Huntsmen opened it up with that first blood, and then the Ultra were able to bounce back with the second kill on the guy top store, which was Bance. But then it all came down to that big 1v1, RCDs versus Classic. Classic with that bomb was able to rotate that towards that 8-bomb site, win that one-on-one, and RCDs was the only line of sights for the Huntsmen onto that site. He ended up losing that gunfight, free bomb plant for the Toronto Ultra, and they just had a lot better positioning, and time was ticking, so the Ultra were able to win that first round.
With a scary nade situation there for Formal as that one gets somewhat mixed up. Giving a few haircuts to the Ultra players, and in quarantine it's definitely necessary. We thank Matthew Piper for that contribution, and you also got to thank Envoy. First blood coming through there on the Cammy, and if you are Chicago, you're happy to see him wiped off the map as early as possible. And Arshty's continuing to be kind of one of those major pieces as he's got that line sight locked down over toward A as Classic looks to reposition himself. Bance. All too close, all too careful. Doesn't have the line sight. The smoke is out, and Prestini, he's planting down the bomb, Study.
Yeah, and this is where it's going to get scary. The Ultra decided to wrap everyone out of this 8-bomb site and just try to play towards middle map. Huntsman able to... Oh my God, I had to pause my thought right there because Bance just hit an insane shot. Now in a 2v2 situation, I wonder how they're going to play this.
I wonder myself. Methods v Envoy, 25 seconds left, and Methods has to go for the challenge, but Envoy is there, not ADSing around the corner as Methods wasn't 100% sure exactly where he'd be. Envoy weak. Envoy wins the big 1 versus 1 to give the Huntsmen the advantage.
Yeah, like I said, they brought every single player from the Ultra. They wrapped back and tried to make sure they stacked towards that B bomb. Didn't think the bomb was going to go towards that A, but the Huntsmen had a smoke grenade. They were able to put that bomb down and put themselves in better positions. Bance hit an insane sniper right there to put them in an advantage there in the 2v2, but then eventually both 1v1s eventually turned into the favor of the Huntsmen. Now they're able to tie it up 1-1.
And Toronto early, piling on the pressure at A. The nades continue to rain through as Prestini will find the second pick here for Chicago. And Formal as well with the snipers is hitting beams. Verdansk, Piccadilly, take your choice. Toronto as Cammy, we talk about snipers. The last one alive, and he hits a shot for good measure. Toronto maybe fading out of the round, but Cammy is putting on a little bit of a show. Shuts down Envoy. Back-to-back headshots. And Chicago, be careful. Huntsman, take your challenges wisely as this man Cammy is on fire. Does get taken down, but what a show that round number 3 was.
That got a little scary, man. I'm sitting there in my mind like, why are we peeking? Don't peek. He's hitting nothing but headshots. This guy's obviously on point. He hit 2 insane shots there on the RCDs and onto Envoy, but that wasn't enough. You saw the first blood coming in once again from Envoy, second first blood of the map, and Prestini put himself in a great position there on Fallon to make sure he gets that guy on the bomb off of it. Formal with an insane snipe, followed up by another kill to a 5v1. It was a difficult task for Tambi, but he almost made that possible somehow.
Crazy stuff coming through from Cammy. Starting to get a lot more of that spotlight. I had a few people even tweeting me talking about how this guy doesn't get enough recognition, and based on the search and destroy performance at the least, I think he's starting to earn some more eyes, which is great to see. Methods, a very scary spot if you're Huntsman, and he will win the fight versus Prestini. Checking out some new kicks up top, but nonetheless gets dropped. Methods silenced. Bance. A big win, as you called it there, Study versus Scump. And Bance as well, a great situation to take down Formal as well. Ultra, a good hold.
Yeah, it's a great hold. Once again, I'm pretty sure Chicago Huntsmen have gotten first blood every single round so far, so the man advantage is going to them. But the Toronto Ultra putting themselves in great positions to be able to bounce back. You saw that big 1v1 there from Scump from Bance to Scump on that truck area, back ambulance. That was such a huge kill because he was able to put himself in an advantage there, force the players from the Huntsmen to get out of their positions, and then eventually Formal shot a slit at him with a pistol. Good bounce back round out of the Ultra.
The trading of rounds, classic, running through an array of arcade cabinets. Love myself some time at the arcade from time to time. Study. I'm kind of a Pac-Man person myself. Shout out to Pac-Man, by the way. Not intentional.
Yeah, I was a Street Fighter guy. I just
Street Fighter,
button smasher. Button smasher. I never knew how to properly play the game ever. I just went there and just hit every single button possible.
Prestini. Oh my goodness! A wonderful early 2 as he was going duck hunting. Fortunately gets dropped nonetheless. Toronto Ultra still with some presence as Scump takes down Cammy toward the middle side, and if you're Toronto, it's lonely, right? You've got one player on one side of the map, and Methods, classic with the bomb kind of somewhat near that B side, and Chicago somewhat spread as they've got presence pretty much everywhere. You've got line sights at B, you've got presence in middle map, and you've also got Envoy over at A, as it looks as if he may be the person to help lead the engagements. Methods, a nice pick on the Arcties. That will free up the site, but they need to win this 1v1, and they do it. Back-to-back fights here for Toronto. Can they clutch the 2 versus 4? Scump rocks the dead silence, but can he catch the right timing? Shots left and right as T2P need to clutch up. And they've done the work necessary, at least for the beginning stages, but Classic, his presence is known, he's now aware, but can they shut him down? And they do, as T2P clutch up, and what was nearly a 4v2 situation as Chicago grabbed their 3rd round.
That would have been so scary for the Huntsmen. I'm so happy that they were able to close that out, because losing a 4v2, that can possibly be the swing round of the map if that would have happened. You saw 2 1v1 gunfights from the Huntsmen. I would have liked if they just gave up the bomb plant, to be honest, and just made it their advantage to fight it in a 4v2. Instead, it went down to 2 1v1s. You saw Scump win a big 1v1 gunfight to force it into a 2v1, stalling enough time for Formal to come behind. Classic. Great execution out of the Huntsmen.
Yeah, good execution given the circumstances. Be a massive round for Ultra if they could have grabbed it, but at least don't for now. Formal uncharacteristically missing the snipe, and he'll have to pay for it. Cammy getting the last laugh. He's known for waving. He also laughs from time to time, as that is going to be a clean 3. How about a clean 4 to start? Envoy instantly left all by his lonesome, as he'll go and eat a nade for good measure. Ultra quickly fire back.
That was a huge opening round. That was a good neutralization out of Cammy on a Formal. He was able to take him down, and you saw CleanX with a big 2, playing aggressive towards that bomb site. Was able to immediately get him off bomb, shoot the guy that was going in the underground tunnel. Just played so aggressive right there. The Huntsmen didn't know what to do. Good bounce back round. Now we're in a 3-3 situation.
Just have a feeling, Study. I don't know. I have a feeling this just...
Another 5-5?
it could be. I don't know. The Huntsmen, they've seen 2 round 11s already. I'm getting ahead of myself. But nonetheless, I'm excited. It's getting interesting as we'll see the Ultra revisit them now here on offense. As CleanX, who has been a major piece for them, is hoping to find an early first blood. And that helps, especially when you are on offense. But Arcity's, he's getting ultra close over at the stairs, and that is going to give the information as Cammy hits another snipe onto Envoy while moving, no problem. And by the way, it's another headshot. He's got the information that someone's about to go toward top shop.
Don't peek him.
Be careful. Be careful. Prestini. Watch out. Nonetheless, Classic takes down Arcities in the meantime. Formal can't hit the shot, but does get the information at the least. They know the bomb is being rotated over at A. Like we said, Prestini currently over toward that top shop. He's trying to put in the damage. His Methods does take down Formal. He'll explode. There goes Prestini, and now it's all on to Scump. A 1 versus 4. The bomb is planted. First player taken down, goes for the reach-out and can't win it. Ultra now up 4-3.
That all starts with Cammy's insane quickscope onto Envoy. Like, That's just something you don't really see. And that was another headshot. That was another first blood for the Ultra. It's currently 2-5 in favor of the Huntsmen. And they're keeping these rounds so close. I like the mid-map adjustment right there to not force that bomb plant onto that beat bomb. They realized that there were players from the Huntsmen wrapping back. Formal was able to get all that information. But by the time he got there, Pristini had too much on his plate. Was trying to take down Pants. Couldn't put himself in a position to get the guy a bomb either.
Ooh.
Good bounce back round out of Ultra. And again, another one. Another headshot out of Cammy.
Cammy, we get it, all right? You're insane. You're absolutely unbelievable. With the sniper as I didn't even think he hit that. I'll be honest with you. I had no idea he hit that. I heard the hit marker and I thought it was alive, but it's not. Pixel perfect coming through from Cammy. As Chicago, that has got to deflate you on your offenses when that guy is hitting snipes like that. As he's got another one lined up. The perspective is perfect, but he actually shoots the trophy, I think. Smokes are out. Cammy switches out to the M4, picking off a fallen comrade, but we'll see if Chicago can make their way over toward the site. Envoy wanting to make sure that bookstore is clear. Classic finding a pick. Finding a pick through mid-map as Envoy does get the kill from behind. Now starting to punch in the digits. It's all on to Classic. Can he spot Envoy? He does, but the plant gets off. The plant gets off. 1v1 versus Scump. He goes for the re-challenge, and Scump will win it. As now 4-4, Scump goes big in the 1v1 situation there, Study.
It was a 5v3 situation. Arcitys and Scump were able to chain together 2 kills to force it into a 3v3. I thought Cammy put himself in a great position to at least get the guy off that bomb, but he ended up jumping out from that underground. Get unfortunate timing because no one was planning. Able to take him down, force it into a 2v1. Then it came down to a 1v1 between Classic and Scump. Classic was able to put down some shots onto him, but I would have liked to see if he would have just took his time there because there was a lot of time remaining on there. He had the positioning. So fortunate he went for the instant challenge. Now we're at 4-4.
4-4 indeed. The observers know what to do. You always got to check in with Cammy, but Kleenex, another talented young star for the Ultra, finds the early pick and what is a massive round right now for the Ultra. However, in the meantime, it's Pristini and Envoy doing the damage for Chicago. Kleenex gets found out, but regardless, as he fades off the map, does find a nade kill. Cammy, the easiest snipe of the game, happens to come in one of the most influential moments, but Envoy now versus Cammy instantly hops on the defuse, but 14 seconds left. Cammy has to go for the challenge, tosses out the stun. Can Envoy win it in time? And it's just not looking great. It's not looking great for Envoy despite the 1 versus 1. Cammy does all he needs as the Ultra will go up 5 rounds to 4.
Cammy played that absolutely beautiful. He did not hesitate, did not have a fast trigger finger right there. He saw Scump, didn't take the shot. Then he saw Arcitys was able to take that shot and play his life perfectly. At the same time, Bance was able to kill one and then force it into a 1v1 situation. The positioning out of Cammy, the patience out of Cammy, just won him that round. Ultra are 1 round away from closing out this map.
It's crazy to think about. Ultra, fantastic position for them, but Chicago, the early pick from Formal, just off. As Bance does make it over toward the side, and you like the positioning early for Ultra here. As Envoy does get the nade onto Classic. But the next wave is about taking down Cammy, as Envoy has to know about it. Tossing out some utility, but nothing landing just as of yet. Kleenex from long range. It's a big pick onto Envoy. Bomb is down for a moment, and Bance as well shuts down Pristini. It is up to a 3 versus 4 here for Chicago. And what a pick would mean, and what a pick it is from Formal. But on the other end, it's Cammy, who instantly replies. Some insane sniper duels, as that's going to put Chicago now in a very difficult position. It's on for the rotation. Can Chicago get here in time? Methods is waiting. Methods is waiting here. Can he win the 1 versus 1? Not going to be able to for now. Refocuses as the bomb is in the midst of being planted. And here comes the pick for Cammy. An easy snipe as it's all on to Arcides. A 1 versus 3. Arcides wins the first. Tries to reap challenge, but Cammy is there. Cammy will win it for the Ultra, as that will be a massive Game 5 win for them as they lock it up here in the 10th round.
That is an unbelievable Game 5 out of the Ultra. Cammy once again putting on a show with this sniper. He's running around with 15 seconds left, going for the quick scope off the guy on the bomb. And that's so unfortunate for the Huntsmen. I felt like they had the majority of first bloods that map, a couple adjustments, and they probably would have been better off towards the very end of it. But the Ultra just made the proper mid-game arrangements and just switching up their strats, rotating bombs when they needed to. You saw Classic. He was just eating nades left and right. It looked like it was a coordinated nade from the Huntsmen right there in the end of that round. But Cammy, every time Formal hit a snipe, Cammy had an answer for it immediately. So they just always had the man advantage, and they played that perfectly. Great series out of the Ultra.
Yeah, definitely, right? Obviously, given the circumstances, Ultra, they managed to lock up the insane search and destroy. That's without question, man. But still, Cammy. I mean, I have to have some stats wizards kind of throw me some figures here and there as we'll go and pull up our scuff play of the game here in round number 10. But Cammy, what? It was 15 here on the gun runner. I want to say it was 17 yesterday in one of the search and destroys. He puts up 11 now. The man just cannot stay away from these double-digit performances here, Study.
He was just putting on a show, quick-scoping people left and right, headshot after headshot. He was not missing. He definitely deserves the credit. I'm going to start calling this map Cammy Town, because what he is doing on this map, just quick-scoping people across map, running around delusionally confident with the sniper. You see that, but only 10 seconds remaining. He was able to get Formal right off the bomb before the bomb even planted, put Arcides in an impossible task there with only 5 seconds left. There were still 2 players alive. There was no way he was going to be able to get both kills and win that round. But the Ultra, even though they were getting first blooded a majority of the rounds in that last map, they still made the proper adjustments, tried to force it in their favor. Saw Band sneaking around left and right. Kleenex was stepping up his pace, playing towards that fountain on that 8-bomb site. They just started to take the map from them, and congratulations to them in this series.
Yeah, congratulations to the Ultra for walking away with this series versus the Huntsmen. It was a Game 5, and it definitely was very interesting, especially kind of toward the stretch there. Piccadilly continues to deliver us some wonderful moments, and I'm not going to forget, I think, those sniper duels for a very long time. But let's go and take a look at our playoff picture, because that's really what this is about, right? Obviously, you want to win the Toronto home series without question, but a lot of this is based on the champs seeding, as we'll go and take a look at our playoff picture now. And these are our current standings for the moment. As we kind of take a look throughout a few of these, Study, of course, the big emphasis for a majority of people is kind of not necessarily on that top 4 in terms of positioning. We talk about trying to get into that top 2 is crucial, but obviously in terms of this series, the big emphasis for Ultra is to try to break in that top 8, and they have a big mountain to climb, as the job is by no means done here.
Yeah, man, 2 series so far on the weekend in their own home series, going to a Game 5 all the way down to the wire, but they're coming out clutch. And now they have to continue to push forward, because they obviously need a couple more points to be able to push it to that top 8 placing. And if they're playing the way that they are in their search and destroys, I know they lost the first one in a 6-5, but that is definitely their backbone. They need to stay consistent in that if they want to have a chance at winning their own home series.
Those were obviously our CDL points presented by Game Fuels. We're going to take a look at the money that is at stake, man. I tell you what, this is only going to make champs that much more exciting as we talk about it, man. 1.5 milli for the team that walks away as champions. I tell you what, Study. I mean, obviously you found yourself in a number of different grand finals. You found yourself in the Call of Duty Ghost grand final as well. What's it like to be in a champ situation like that, knowing how much money is on the line?
Honestly, dude, like, we almost got eliminated top 16, so when we got to second, it was literally a miracle from God. So just being in that position, I thought we won already, but just like nowadays, if you make it to that, you want to be able to win it, and hopefully we're going to see a team that deserves it and that B's there to be able to close that out.
It's definitely going to be fun, man. The road to champs is only going to get more interesting as the Toronto Ultra managed to win a big Game 5 here versus the Chicago Huntsmen. But nonetheless, we've got an interview set up. It is the PlayStation Instant Reaction. Up next with the Toronto's young Danish star himself, Kleenex.
with me. We'll be right back with it.